That's why we had to have what we call the Exponential Advantage. Done the research and found there's 4 areas that are critical to your success. And we're going to talk about those this morning, and you need to take a look at those, because if you've failed in business or you're not seeing the success that you deserve, I can guarantee you it's one of these 4 areas or combination of these 4 areas. We call it a success blueprint. We're going to go over this. It's one of these areas. The first is personal mastery, self-persuasion. Because if you can't persuade yourself, can you persuade other people? No. And that's the one that people work on last. They think they're okay, there's not an issue, there's not a problem. But self-mastery, self-persuasion, personal mastery, motivation is critical for your success. And I've been guilty, like many of you, sitting in a seminar and hearing these successful speakers saying vision and goal setting. I'm like, yeah, whatever, give me the tools. Those are the tools. Those are the things that make the biggest difference. You talk to people that create wealth, that talk about success. They say the biggest obstacle to success are these skills I'm going to talk about right now. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have a challenge with that. These are the tools. So kind of dig deep and feel, is this something that you need to work on? This personal mastery, this programming, because you have programming running in your brain, programs running in your brain right now that are sabotaging your success. Would you agree with that? Where did they come from? How did they get there? You don't think they're a challenge, but they are a detriment to your success. It reminds me of a great story. I was reading a book about this gentleman named Peter Daniels. He's from Australia. And he was a skinny little kid. His dad moved a lot. And he had a first grade teacher. He moved into class. Her name was Miss Phillips. And you take your worst teacher that you've ever had and you multiply it by 10. She would rap him on the knuckles. She would hit on the back of the head. She would call him dumb. All these things. And you do that to a first grader, does that affect the rest of their life? It does. And finally one day she got fed up with Peter Daniels, brought him to the front of the room and said, class, this is Peter Daniels. Don't do what he does. He's going to be a failure in his life. He's going to fail out of school and he's going to amount to nothing. Wow. Should she be shot? That destroyed his life, and guess what happened? Failed out of school, got jobs, got fired, tried businesses, failed, and he was just a failure. He couldn't believe it. And he wanted to be successful, but he had this programming that he had to deal with. And so he finally realized that if he could change the way he thought and change some things in his life, he could change his success. And he got into real estate and became a billionaire with a B in real estate in Australia. And once he made his first billion, he decided to write a book, and it was titled, Miss Phillips, You Were Wrong. You were wrong. And every single one of us, we have a Miss Phillips in our life, don't we? Someone that doesn't believe in us. Isn't that a strange thing? As entrepreneurs, or you go out and things, you're excited about something, you tell your family and friends, and what do? They spit on your dreams. They're dream spitters. That's what they do. Now, I'm not going to go to the psychology behind that, but they see that spark in your eye. They see you doing things that you've always wanted to do, and either consciously or subconsciously are going to pull you down. It's important. So one of the biggest obstacles is fear. We have fears that are holding us back. Now here's the reality, the important thing to understand. You were only born with 2 fears in life. A newborn baby has 2 fears. What are they? Fear of falling. What else? Fear of loud noises. So all these little fears of rejection, of criticism, people even have the fear of success. That's an amazing one, because they think they'll have to keep it up or keep making money while they keep being successful. Fear of what other people are thinking. Fear of criticism. They have been learned. The fear of public speaking. They have been learned. So if you've learned them, guess what? You can unlearn them. And that's critical. They're locked up in your brain. You can't just ignore them. They are there. And that's the amazing thing. Public speaking is the number 1 fear. It's higher than death. As Jerry Seinfeld says, people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you talk about fear. And it's important that we face fear in the face. I'm not talking about psychosis. I'm talking about looking at our fears, going out there and doing it, and making it happen, and addressing them. Because we all have these little things. Some of the big fears are the fear of criticism. We're so concerned about what other people think of us. We're so concerned. Parents, neighbors. And I learned early on that you wouldn't be so concerned what other people think about you when you realize how little they do. They aren't spending their whole day thinking about you and what you're doing, your failures and your weaknesses. They're not. They don't have time. They have their own lives. And that's a beautiful thing about this, is that this is your future. I don't care about your past. You can decide right now how successful you want to be. It's the mental skills. The universe, this is so important to understand. The universe will not reward you physically until you believe it mentally. Let me repeat that. The universe will not reward you physically until you believe it mentally. You have to create it mentally first. If you want to become financially independent, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to become a mental millionaire in your mind before it's ever going to happen, or you're going to sabotage yourself. And you have to get past this criticism. Napoleon Hill says, "The fear of criticism robs man of his initiative, destroys his power of imagination, limits his individuality, and takes away his self-reliance." Wow. Look at those words. Initiative, imagination, individuality, and self-reliance. That's what fear is doing in your life. You're avoiding the things you need to do. You need to do. Success is an open book test. Wealth is an open book test. There's no secret. The answers are there. You just have to start doing them, get past those fears. And I think when you look at success and becoming financially independent, for many of you, it's like exercising for the first time in 5 years. How does that feel? It hurts a little bit. But as you keep doing it, how does it feel? It feels good. It's invigorating, actually craving. You're just not doing what successful people are doing. Criticism. People will criticize you. People will pull you down. People are having a bad day. I could do a seminar with 200-300 people and talk to 40 people afterwards. Thank you, great, loved it, appreciate it. Then there's that one person, right, that says, that wasn't that good, or I didn't learn anything. So it's a 40-to-1 ratio on what's stuck in my mind. That one person, and we get stuck in that too. We have to get past that.